Okay then, so today I'm making a 4-bean smoky chili. We've got the base vegetables here, 3 onions, a pack of celery, 3 peppers, 3 carrots, just to add a bit more vegetables to it, tomato puree, minced garlic. Then the base of any chili I think should be cumin, some oregano, cayenne pepper, that you can use any sort of chili powder. In order then to make it smoky, I'm adding smoked paprika and chipotle chili flakes. Then you'll need salt and pepper. I'm adding coriander as an option. A beer, always necessary to go into the chili. And then a big pack of mushrooms. Then the liquid is going to be provided by the tomato passata there, but you could use chopped tomatoes or fresh tomatoes cut up. Then onto the 4 beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, black-eyed beans and black beans. I'm using dried beans today, although you can use tins. Then I'm using some vegetable stock, Henderson's Relish, which is like vegan Worcester sauce, a spoon of hot sauce, lime juice, and an option at the end is dark soy. This is a vegetarian or vegan recipe, I guess, so the soy just adds a bit more depth of flavour to it, makes up for the lack of any meat. Right, so this has been cooking for about 10 minutes, pretty much done. Lots of the moisture's come out and sweated down nicely. I'm just going to make a little hole and I'm going to put in a tablespoon of garlic. This is minced garlic, very handy to have. You can of course use fresh garlic as much as you like, this is completely optional. And then I'm going to put in about the same of tomato puree. I won't measure this, I'll just try and estimate about the same. About a tablespoon. So with tomato puree, it's best to put it in early to a dish, and then to allow it to cook off slightly. So you want it to fry if you can, just to get rid of the rawness. That's why I try and make a little hole and get it near to the heat, just to make sure it gets cooked down. I'm just chopping up some coriander stalks. These stalks and leaves have been separated, so I'll put the stalks in early on. A lot of flavour in the stalks, and just to stop things going to waste. So I'll save the leaves for later, but for now I'll just throw in the stalks, chopped up, give it a bit of a stir, and then I'll come in shortly with the spice as mentioned earlier. It's getting a nice aroma off that. Right, so now I'm going to add in all the spices. Cumin is really the heart of a chili, so if I've got 2 tablespoons left in my bottle, I will put 2 tablespoons in, almost 2 tablespoons. Then I will put in 1 tablespoon of cayenne pepper. Any sort of chili powder is fine. I'm using cayenne. I'll put in 1 tablespoon of oregano, just a big generous one of that. So that's your standard chili base. I'd say every chili should have cumin, some chili powder of some form, and oregano. That's the real heart of it. But what I'm going to do now to make it smoky is add in a couple more bits. So I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika, which has a lovely flavour to it. It's got a bit, loosen it up. It's around 2 tablespoons. And finally, some chipotle chili flakes, which you can get from places like Tesco, These are actually quite hot, so 1 tablespoon of those as well. Get a nice smoky, almost chocolatey flavour, some say, from it. So that's all the original spices. Allow them to cook off for a couple of minutes just to release the flavour before going in with the next step. So after a couple of minutes cooking the spices down a bit, I've got the big pack of mushrooms. I've cubed them into quite big chunks. I'm going to be cooking this for a long time, so they'll just stand up to the long cooking process and give a bit of bites, just some different textures. What you want to do is stir it all in deeply, get the mushrooms coated with all the spices, stir them all in for a couple of minutes before the next stage. I think I'll also at this point add some salt and pepper. It's just to be generous. A few twists. Go around a couple of times. There's obviously a lot of other spices in there, but salt and pepper is always needed. Probably all in all about a tablespoon of each, if I have to estimate. Right, so next step I'm going to add in a whole beer. This is quite a big one, I think it's 500 mils. You want to add the alcohol fairly early because you want it to cook off. So chuck that whole thing in, breaks it up a bit, loosens up the mixture. Also cleans the bottom of the pan, which is probably slightly encrusted by now. Ooh. Yeah, stir in that beer. Right, so now I'm going to add in the packet of tomato passata. This is, I think again, 500 grams. Right, so I'm going to add about 250 grams of each of the 4 beans. The 500 gram pack, so I'm just going to try and estimate what half a pack is and throw it in. So that's the red kidney beans. I'll now do the same for the pinto beans. Same for the black-eyed beans. And same finally for the black turtle beans. So quite a lot of dried beans have gone in there. There'll need to be a lot more moisture. So I'll just stir them in for a minute and put the kettle on. And I will use the boiling water from the kettle to make some stock. Alright, so that's bubbling away nicely. I'm going to add the kettle that's just boiled. I want to keep a bit of space in the top of the pot because the beans are going to expand. So we need to keep a bit of space spare. But the beans will need to absorb all the moisture, so there'll need to be enough in there. So to this, I'm going to add a vegetable stock pot. You can use a stock cube. This is obviously a vegetarian or vegan chilli. I think this is vegan, although don't hold me to that. That's gone in there. Then a few other finishing elements. We've got Henderson's Relish, which is like vegan Worcester sauce. You can use Worcester sauce if you like. I'll probably put in 2 of these, 2 tablespoons of these. Just adds more depth to the flavour, more savouriness. I'll also add a tablespoon of my favourite hot sauce. This is Scotch Bonnet hot sauce. Again, it's optional. You can use whatever you like. And now I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of lime juice. If I can work out how to open it. There it is. About 1 tablespoon, I think. Whoop, that should be okay. Maybe 2, why not? And then finally I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of dark soy. This is very thick stuff, highest quality. It just adds some more savouriness and depth of flavour. So I'll stir that all in. What I can do with this sear and stew slow cooker is transfer it into a slow cooker. If I was cooking this on the hob, I might look to cook it, simmer it on very low for about 6 hours. As it is, I'll put it in the slow cooker, but keep an eye on it if you're using dried beans, as they'll expand and you might have to siphon some off into another pot. So final step, which I almost forgot, is to add the coriander leaves. I've chopped them up roughly. You can wait until the very end and have those on the top as a garnish if you like. I'll probably put them in now. I'm making frozen portions of this, so put this in at the end. Whatever doesn't stick to the board. And give it a little stir around. So yeah, if you're simmering this, probably need to simmer it for about 6 hours. So if you've got a lid, get it, put it on, and then turn the heat all the way down. So it's been about 6 hours now. This has been in the slow cooker on high. You could simmer it on the pan for about the same amount of time. If you're using dried beans like I've used, then 6 hours will make them come back to life, be fully hydrated. If you're using tin beans, then it probably only needs about an hour. So what I'm going to do now is turn this off, allow it to cool down, and then I'm going to put it into takeaway containers and freeze it to have for the week. So that's smoky 4-bean chili done.